Hi, I'm Lisset King.
And I'm Brittney King, and welcome to Honest Feedback. Take 2. We forgot to record sound as we had gotten fully into this episode.
Oh, man.
So y'all are here for the ride of this week of Honest Feedback. We're here. We're honest. This is what happens. This is part of the making of the podcast.
This is part of the making of the podcast. Sometimes you forget to hit record.
Yeah.
Or you hit stop when you should have hit record.
Yeah.
There's
been times.
It's like, this is the joys of running a podcast.
You know what it reminds me when the universe is like, humble yourself.
Yeah.
Humble. Just remember to do the checks. I had a little checklist. I was like, we don't need no checklist.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
We got too big for our britches. I don't know how old-timey that is. But
it's very old-timey. And I don't even know what it means, but it feels like it's offensive to women.
Probably. Oh my God. Someone Google that and put it in the show
put it in the comments. Let us know. What does too big to your britches mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
But for those who are brand new here, welcome.
Welcome.
We're so excited to be here with you. This is a podcast here for you. We make this for you.
Yeah.
And it is here to offer advice and alternative perspectives for whatever is on your heart and mind. You can bring it to this space. And we could talk about it. And my amazing and oh so talented, epically phenomenal wife, Lisset King, is an emotional ninja. Yes,
that's right.
She is a trainer and master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming, mental emotional release, and hypnotherapy. Dun 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 dun. Is that a ninja song?
No, it's Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
No, I'm sorry. It's Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
Which was actually way before Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, thank you for helping me feel old yet again today.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if that it's making you quote unquote old so much as commending that person for committing to the reality of a fictional universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he
Sure.
really, he does 100% of his own Scientology.
Yes, he does. And his own stunts.
Yeah. Yes, he
Valid.
literally jumps off planes. That's a little off thing. But you do go to the ends of the earth. If you are sitting in her chair, like she is bringing that Tom Cruise intensity to the problem. Don't you worry, because she will do 100% of her own stunts.
Yes, I do. I will dive deep into your shadow.
Yes. And that's something you need to be held. You know what I mean? Like if it was like, hey, real life, there's a knife fight. It's like, well, I know who's on my side.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, baby.
Yeah.
I love the new ways we find to explain what I do.
Yeah.
And my beautiful, epic, incredible wife, Goddess Brittney King, is a pleasure priestess. She helps women move from numb to embodied through sensual movement and sacred ritual.
Yes. And I have something really exciting to share with you all
Tell
from
them.
the Pleasure Palace.
Tell them, baby.
I have been talking about this, maybe even teasing you about it for quite some time, and it is finally here. I am leading an international retreat, and you, yes, you are invited. It is full body yes. And we are outside of Puerto Vallarta on sacred land with healing water. Are you here for high vibrational food?
Yes.
Are you here for amazing sisterhood with epic women?
Absolutely.
Yes. Are you here for living your best, most juicy, most expansive, pleasure-filled life?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Full body yes. It's for women who are saying yes to all of this and more in their lives. And spaces are limited.
Very limited.
So if this is something that you are interested in, click the link below, schedule a call with me. This is happening April 8th through 12th. And as we said, it's a very intimate container because you know how we do it in the Pleasure Palace. Lisset will also be there holding space, leading classes. It is going to be
It's going to be that sound.
yeah.
That is what a full body yes sounds like.
Full body yes.
And yeah, we're going to be doing it. We're having a great time, and we would love to have you there. So definitely schedule a call.
Yeah.
And come get your growth on.
Yes, absolutely. So speaking of growth, what are we talking about today?
Ooh, today we're talking to a caller who wants to explore polyamory.
Ooh,
One of our favorite topics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you like define polyamory?
I feel like I should whip out the Urban Dictionary. I'll give you my explanation.
Tell
of
me
what
your
it is.
explanation.
Yeah. So, polyamory is the ability to love more than one person.
Great.
Like, open your heart and love more than one and have the capacity for that. And I certainly discovered that my heart had that capacity when I met my first poly partner. And it didn't necessarily start like that, but it definitely it opened this world for me that I didn't even know was possible, and I didn't even know was my truth.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, what's your experience with it?
Yeah. So growing up, my family is very like monogamous and hetero and all the things, and also full of secrets. My father had two families, a secret family, and he was also a minister, and he had a secret church that he was hiding. And so it was a lot of mixed messages because our family, like the family structure was like monogamy and this and like don't da da. But there were a lot of affairs in the lineage and a lot of secret children and like, oh, like you don't like that person, they could be a cousin. And it's like, the fuck? You know what I mean? These hidden siblings, hidden cousins. I don't understand what this means. So it was a lot of mixed messaging, but it felt like, oh, that's wrong. But I remember always having these like inklings of wanting more when I was in romantic relationships. So when I found like the language and the structure, it was like this promised land kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to dive into this question.
Yes. Before we do, this is the perfect time for you to press the subscribe button, for you to share it with a friend, leave us a review. All of these things make a huge difference in us being able to reach more people. And it is truly our heart's mission to support anyone in need who is desiring this kind of support in their life. And you pressing the like and the subscribe and leaving a review makes a difference. So take a moment. Thank you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you taking the time to literally press the button. It means the world of difference to us. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into this question.
Let's.
Okay.
Excellent.
First up, I just want to say I truly enjoy your podcast. I love the questions you're diving into, the space you're sharing with all of us. Definitely getting some wow insight. Some things to practice and definitely new perspectives. So here it is. I have pretty much been in monogamous relationships my entire existence of connections, relationships, just overall dating life. And now coming into a space of wanting to explore polyamorous relationships. I feel so much passion and desire to connect with multiple people emotionally, intimately and sexually, but also not sure what that looks like or will feel like, and want to definitely be intentional going into this space with not just others, but also myself. So I'm curious your experience with polyamorous relationships and any advice in exploring this new space.
This is a beautiful question. Thank you so much for calling it in. Also, thanks for being our fan.
Yes.
Love that.
Heart you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. And we love that you're, contributing to the conversation. And yeah, so experience and advice. I can jump into this.
Yeah,
one.
jump in.
Yeah. So my experience, let me talk about little baby Mono Lisset.
Little baby Mono Lisset. Little baby Mono.
when I was a baby monogamous person, I too, had my entire existence of dating life was monogamous. And it's just because I wasn't taught otherwise. I came from a, Colombian Catholic family. Monogamy is, my parents were together for 50 years. Before my father passed, it was just like, they were married, and I didn't know it was even on the table.
Yeah.
Much like I didn't know gay was on the table.
I know.
And then I was like, wait a second.
Wait a
minute. The fact that I prefer the company of women might mean that I prefer the company of women.
What?
Or the fact that I'm in a relationship and I keep finding other people attractive and then feeling conflicted might actually be something to do with like the makeup of how I function best in relationship. I just didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
And so through that, I met my first poly partner in 2015. And she's like, I'm polyamorous. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And she's like, I like you and I like this person. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah.
Totally.
I get it. That's fine. Yeah.
Right.
I've done threesomes.
Breezy.
Oh, no, not that. Okay. Like you'd like that. You want to date them separate. Okay, cool. I can do this. And and I thought I could cowgirl her. I could take her out.
Yeah, take her out of poly. That's the cowgirl. Got me one. I'm a lasso.
Got me one. And that did not work. Because she was very poly at heart. And what it made me do is discover this whole section of the library that I didn't even know was there. I didn't.
The forbidden books.
The forbidden books. All those sinful books.
The books of knowledge.
The books of knowledge.
Yeah.
So what it allowed me to do is really dive into this whole other way of being, this way of communicating, this way of having more open, honest communication than I'd ever had before.
Yeah.
Like when you're monogamous, you just assume that the other person knows what monogamy means to you.
Assuming. Yes.
We know what that means.
Yeah.
And through that, I always found myself conflicted. I'm like, why is this person jealous of me hanging out with other people? This is a friend. And I was confused as to why I wouldn't jive with people. I felt weird as to why I wouldn't connect with certain monogamous people. We'd have different ideas. Like some people would be super possessive and, and that just necessarily wasn't me. Or, thinking that jealousy meant love was something that was an old narrative that I had. And through opening it up and realizing that there's just a lot more communication to be had.
Yeah.
Everyone, when I discovered this world, it was this whole new world of people having the most open, honest, vulnerable conversations ever. And including nonstop conversations with my partner. And I started dating more people and I was like, wait a second, I can do this.
Yeah.
And it started to feel really good for me. And as far as, and it started feeling really good for me. What was your experience diving into poly?
Yeah. So it was, like I said, I felt, really shook it up by the intense childhood of the secret family thing coming out.
Yeah.
And so, it just kind of seemed, I didn't have the word for it, but dating more than one person just didn't really sit super well with me. And then when I was in a relationship with someone, I'd be like, oh, but you wouldn't mind if someone else went down on me, right? This was an actual conversation I had with my boyfriend at the time. And he was like, yeah, I would mind. And I was like, oh, okay. Good to know. Just good to know. I so I found myself in relationship being like, I think I want this thing, monogamy. And then in it, I was like, but can we move some of the furniture here? Can we rearrange? Can I redecorate? Let's just demolish it all and just build something new.
Yeah.
And so then when I found this podcast called Dear Sugar by my favorite author, Cheryl Strayed.
Yeah.
Read all of her things. And she had this episode called Big Love where this was a friend of hers. And so she saw this woman on the internet and basically thought this woman had gotten a divorce because she saw this woman posting with her boyfriend. And she was like, oh no, I'm not divorced. I'm polyamorous. And so they had this whole deep conversation about it, which I highly recommend. And to get to the nugget of it, when she was talking about explaining it to her children and sharing about it with her family, at an age appropriate level, but she was like, my daughter has 3 adults in her life who will love her and are committed to her. And so I don't understand how more love can be wrong. And it just hit me in such a deep place of why are we making more love wrong in some kind of ways? And when she was saying with her daughter's like, yeah, I love you and daddy and I love this person and I have all these friends and all time. it's bullshit. And so
It is
that was
bullshit.
like such an opening. I also just want to do a special shout out. This is not polyamory, but there was a show on HBO called Big Love about polygamy Bill Paxton, Chloe Sevigny. The acting is impeccable, but the thing that I super connected with it was the sister wives element of like, you don't have to be in this relationship like by yourself, and this sisterhood was a part of it. And like, so I just remember one character, she was like, I don't know if I want to be married to him if I'm not married to you too. And like, they weren't having a romantic relationship. Yeah, but it was like that partnership of like, I'm not expecting all my needs to be filled by this one person, and like, he ain't shit, you know? So that, I'm moving my legs. So that truly opened me up to this journey. And then meeting you and your partner and your polycule. And I was like, I was interested. And then I saw people doing it in integrity. And I was like, ayo, I've been looking for y'all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I loved when you came into the polycule.
Thank you.
So fun. Everyone, anytime Brittney comes into any space, people are like, oh my God, Brittney. But like to have like all my partners be like, wow. Brittney's really special. Like they all loved you.
That's so sweet. I loved them all too. Yeah, it's a whole journey. Yeah. And like we'll circle back into that. I want to like dive in a little bit to our questioner's question, but where they said they've only been in monogamous relationships and they're curious and like feeling this call to poly. And so I guess my first piece of advice is like, let's get into your why.
Yeah.
Like, why polyamory? There's so many different kinds of relationship structures and something about poly. And granted, there's many ways to do poly and there's the big overarching umbrella of consensual non-monogamy. But like chunking down into poly, like some people do kitchen table poly where it's like everybody in the polycule can like hang out together and go have coffee. And then there's like garden party polyamory where it's like, oh, we just do birthdays together. And there's so many different ways of like how we want to practice it. So I guess I would get clear on like, what's your why about it? And so for me, my why was feeling like I'm an Aquarius. I love freedom. I like to be able to spread my love wherever I wish, however I want to. So for me, it was like autonomy, and I really loved community. Those were like my two whys, autonomy and community. What about you? What were your big whys for poly? Like, why did poly feel in alignment to you?
Yeah, well, like I said, it didn't feel like in alignment at first.
Right.
But it started to feel in alignment with me because it was an ability for me to dive deeper and grow. You know, and you know, I love a growth game. Like anything that allows me to grow and to question how I think and how I am and you know, discover more about me. That was what piqued it. It was curiosity. I'm like, oh, how does this work? Like, how would it work?
Yeah.
And what I realized early on was, you know, the conversations.
Yeah.
Like it, you know, everybody thinks you're going to be sleeping around a lot or it's like means all these things. No, it's a lot of calendaring and it's a lot of conversations. And that is like
that's a lot of it. Yeah.
It's a lot of it. Yeah. And, you know, I had heard that before and then I realized what it was. And what it made me do was like, I had to discover and know what I wanted in relationship.
Boom.
I had to know what I wanted and I had to share that. You know, there wasn't this assumption of monogamy where, well, I know what monogamy means and you know what monogamy means. Let's get into it. Yep. And then we end up misfiring and miscommunicating or misunderstanding each other. It was like, no, what makes you feel loved?
Yeah.
Because this is what makes me feel loved. How much time do you need? Like, are you good? I had a partner, we saw each other once a week and it was awesome. It was fantastic. And it was like clockwork. I looked forward to that day with them and it was fantastic. And also there were other people that needed more time and different, I got to be a different version of myself that was still me. Yeah. With everyone. I was just like, there were places where I got to like, just dive in and get deep combo on. And there were places where I got to just like be freaky and have a great time. Like it was fantastic. You know, definitely some of the most fun I've had. and also as far as advice goes, I want to touch on the fact that, first of all, your desire to be intentional with it is one of the biggest things. Like, I have met people that have done poly for years and were not very integrous and kind of use it as an excuse to fuck around. And then I've met people that like just get started and want to like do it right. And, you know, they turned out to be some of the Yes.
100%. And so like, I feel like when we're using this word right, it's not that there's one way to do it. It's what are the values and the energy that you're bringing to it. So like the things that are feeling in alignment or like feel good to other people, or like, hey, is this person honest? Is this person reflective? Is this person showing up in ways that feel good to me? And something that I feel like really gets illuminated through the lens of non-monogamy is, what are my values?
Yeah. So with values, like, what is it that's important to you about relationship? Like, just asking yourself, what's important to you about relationship? And it could be as simple as like love, connection, communication, intimacy. But then you have to go deeper and go, okay, what does love mean to you?
Yep.
What does connection mean to you? What does intimacy mean to you? And you have to discover what these words are and unpack them, because you might say love and I say love and they mean two completely different things. Just like monogamy means one thing to one person and means
Let's do it. Okay. Think of a dog. Okay. Tell me about the dog you're thinking of.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about Lilu.
Great.
And she's a little terrier. And she's got a little white face and a black body. And she's got little white shoes on. And she's got a little raccoon mask.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that dog we met yesterday. It was like a big wiener dog. And he looked like a giant hot dog. And he was brown and he had floppy ears and he was wearing a red coat. That is what happens. Like, people say love and you're like, cool. But like, you guys have completely different interpretations of what that means. So really getting into it of like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean to me? And exploring it.
Yeah. And just like the question that Brittney and I always explore is, how can I love you better?
Yeah.
And like checking in with that question consistently as you're dating anyone, monogamous or non-monogamous. And so diving in, and first to understand and even communicate values to someone else, you have to know what they are for you.
Yes.
So it's like sitting down with a pen and paper and go, what's important to me about relationship, and listing it out, and then putting them in order of importance.
Yes.
And then writing down what they mean to you. And when you know yourself, you can share that with someone. And not everyone's values match.
Yeah.
There are partners I'm not partners with anymore because our values did not match. And that's okay. So that's definitely like going through the self-discovery of knowing what your values are in relationship is, for me, one of the pivotal pieces of any lasting relationship.
Yes.
And, I know while I'm in this, like, do you have another piece I can go into, or should I go into?
No, keep going.
Yeah. And another piece of the other piece of advice that I have that was priceless to me is there's so many resources out there. Like, you don't have to figure it out all on your own. Stand on the shoulders of giants. People have made the mistakes for you.
Yes.
So read the books. There's many polyamorous resources. Our favorite podcast is Multiamory Podcast.
Yes.
That podcast taught me so much. Shout out to them. They are incredible. Anyone, all relationships should go listen to Multiamory.
Yeah.
Hands down. So that's a good one. Ethical Slut was good.
Polysecure.
Yeah. I like More Than Two. The writer's controversial.
Very.
But, the information is good. I will say that taught me a lot of discovering about myself and my thoughts about jealousy. I learned so much. What else?
A resource that you give to a lot of clients.
Oh, How to Be an Adult in Relationship.
Boom. That one is not poly specific, but it is growth oriented.
Yes. How to Be an Adult in Relationship by David Richo. fuck me up. Like,
Fuck me
get
up.
ready to like have a journal out.
That book, I was like, I had a situationship and I was like, it is so unique and nobody understands. And then he wrote it out and I was like, sir, how dare you? How dare you? I thought I was unique.
It's so good. And you know, the fact that you're moving into this space, you went from doing something the same way your entire life, you know, monogamy, and not to say that we don't learn from it, but there's nothing like trying something new to bring on your beginner mind and go, oh shit. Maybe I didn't know as much as I thought I knew about that thing, you know, and it'll allow you to just humbly enter each relationship with curiosity and honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Polyamory just really, just like everything you just said, but poly gave me like this light bulb moment of reflection that I hadn't been doing in monogamy. And I remember when I had ended things with my long-term boyfriend, it was like we were living together and like there was talk of engagement. Like we were on like one of those relationship escalators and my insides were like, no, do not do this. And when I started doing this work in poly and like getting reflective, all of a sudden, because I was sure it was all his fault, you know, I was sure, other people was sure, I think his mom was sure. Like we were all like, it was him. And then when I started doing this work on myself, I was like, wait a minute. Oh my God, I might have had something to do with this too. With like not stating my needs, not communicating how I really felt. Like there were so many things that I was just sweeping under the rug. And in poly, my experience of poly is like, you can't sweep anything under the rug. It is bare ass hardwood floors. Everything needs to be out in the open. Everything needs to be out in the open, and you need to have these conversations because the impact is a lot. It can be than you might have been in previous relationships. And I just want to say like there are people who are doing intentional monogamy and they are having these hard conversations and they are about their values and they all are the things. And I'm just saying the cultural zeitgeist at large is not presenting that way. So if you've just been being in relationship, you might not have come up with some of these things. Yeah.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
That shit is unconscious until it comes to the surface. And like people and being in relationship is the ultimate feedback loop.
Yes.
Like people will feed back to you. Sometimes you'll find yourself like, why am I running into the same pattern in 3 different relationships at the same time? You know, when it's like one at a time, you can go, no, that was them.
Yeah.
Oh, that was them. But if it's all happening at the same time, you're like, wait, it's me.
It's me.
I'm the problem. It's me. You know, like you have the most, I think, you know, Taylor Swift's last album is because maybe she might be practicing poly. That she's realizing she's the fucking problem. It could I don't know, but the girl had a light bulb moment and it could be that.
Well, I mean, you get these light bulbs. Like for me in poly, like I came in, much like Lisset, I think a lot of people come in. Yes, they're poly until they met me, you know? And when I started dating Lisset, she had 4 other partners. And I was like, I was friends with a lot of them. I was like, this is great. It's like, we're all hanging out together. This is so fun. And I was like totally cool with it. And then when she started dating someone new, it was, who is she? And why? And you know, all the shit popped up. And it was like this opportunity for me to like go within and really get to the truth of like, what am I making this believe about myself? Why am I making this?
What am I making this mean about myself?
Yes. What am I making this mean about myself? Because I was making up all sorts of stories and it was triggering like deep wounds. I'm unspecial. I'm unworthy. So like, I do want to say polyamory is an opportunity to go within these places like entrepreneurship. It is a fucking journey and like your shit will come up. So like, get ready. It's exciting. And they're like, hell yeah, your shit gets to come up. So then we get to heal.
Yeah. And just expect that. Expect that your stuff will come up. And it really is one of the most beautiful opportunities for you to heal what hasn't been healed yet.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fun. I just want to say, I want to add it in that there is a lot of fun and there's a lot of love to be had. And when you have this, like you go into the world with this open heart, like I can tell that just the fact that you want to be intentional with it just shows that you're bringing a level of care to it that you're going to have a good time. This is you discovering you. And I'm excited for you. Please keep us posted.
Yes. I want to share one of my like poly like heart moments.
Yeah.
Is I love that because we are poly, we share a lot with each other and I feel close to you. And so in these ways that I wouldn't in a monogamous situation. So like I had an attraction to a lady and I was like, babe, I think I like her. And like we got to have the whole like best friend this weird nefarious secret thing. It was like, oh my God, it gets to be something we get to share that actually brings us closer together because we're able to share more of our hearts and what's going on with us. And so I just feel like the gifts in poly, like there's so many gifts that are just beyond in a way things that I didn't know that I was going to receive and have so expected. Like one of your former lovers is the witness to our wedding, like at the courthouse, like, and another one of your lovers made our engagement ring. Like, it's just like, to have that kind of sisterhood and community with people and like sharing, like, it was just, wow.
Love is not a finite resource. It's not a pie, you know, like if you eat too many pieces, there's not enough, like it is something that just like overflows, you know, I'm not going to lie, time can be a limited resource. And, you know, we do have to parcel it out and share it when there's more lovers. But the love itself, I have always found the more love I give, the more love I have.
And just like before we wrap it out, you said, well, I'm just not sure what it's going to look and feel like. I know. Yeah. You're just not going to know. You're not going to know it till you get in it and like, dive into that pussy. No, okay. I don't know your orientation. But like, but dive in. Like, you're not going to know. Like, there was no preparing for what I didn't know until I was in it. And then when I was in it, there was so much that felt so good and so right. And then there were things that were sticky and crunchy and I got to move through them and like, meeting like you and your first nesting partner and being like welcomed into the polycule, I just felt so loved and so honored and so permission to be myself. And I learned a lot from each of your partners and the relationships that I had that were non-sexual, but like the relationships that I had with each of my metamors, like we got to grow through things and have our own relationships. And it was just so nourishing. I just felt like a plant, like fully coming to life. And it was so beautiful. So beautiful. And I was so grateful. And the gifts of poly are just many. And there's just so, Yeah.
And I think, you know, just to kind of catch people up, you know, Brittney and I, we are married and we are still polyamorous.
Yes.
You know, our hearts are there. There are times where I have a friend that we have a few drinks and stuff happens and Britt always just expects it. She's like, yeah, did you hook up with her? And I'm like, yeah, you know, and the fact that I can, cause we both travel a lot together and separate. If I have a crush on someone, I could be like, oh my God, I think this person is so cute. And she's like, and she gets to have her feelings around it. Sometimes she's like, okay, tell me more. Sometimes she's like, okay. And no matter what, we navigate it together because the love we have for each other is so strong. Like Brittney is my partner. Like she's my partner. She's my ride or die. Like we are in this where we have a podcast together. We do business stuff together. We have decided to live together and create together. And that does not close off my heart to be able to love others. And it doesn't close off her heart. And we get to just be unbelievably honest with each other.
Yep.
And that is, it's just the most refreshing, delicious thing I've ever had.
Yeah. I love honesty. I love honesty. It feels so good. And
We
it
like
feels
honesty. We have a podcast called Honest
I
Feedback. It's
know.
weird.
I love that we allow ourselves and support ourselves to be the biggest, most magnificent versions of ourselves. And for those who are curious about polyamory, I feel like that's something that it's truly given me. It's like permission to be my full entire self. I never feel that I have to be less of who I am in order to be in this relationship or to be in any relationship. And that has just felt so supportive to me in my life path.
Yeah. Well, caller, voice memoir. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for asking this beautiful question. And just know we're here for you. If you ever, need more assistance as you're on the path, you can always reach out to us and you can always slide into our DMs. We are here and we wish you the best and we can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yes, absolutely. And leaning into finding those resources, what they may look like, books, podcasts, in-person meetups. There are poly therapists.
There are poly process groups.
Yes.
I will say this. I just wanted to dive in. I had a poly process group home in LA, and that group wasn't officially group therapy, but that unofficial group therapy was everything. We would go, was it once a month?
Once a month,
Yeah, once a month. And, there's like 12 of us in that room, and we would get raw, real, and the experience. We had people who had been poly for decades, just being able to provide this like wisdom into the space and showing us that, yes, it can be done. Like that was such a beautiful motivator for us in the beginning.
Yeah.
So get yourself into a poly process group.
There might be one starting in Portland soon. Woo,
Maybe.
woo.
Yeah.
Yes, but we're here for you. Thank you so much for your beautiful question. And we are sending you so much love.
Yeah. And if you have a question, feel free to give us a call at 971-895-4111, or you could slide into our DMs at Honest Feedback Podcast on Instagram. And until we meet again, be honest with each other.
Bye.